Hello, everyone, and welcome to podcast episode 7. I can't believe we're already on the 7th episode. It's so crazy. We're already in November. I've been working on this podcast for so long, and the fact that we're already here, it's so cool. I'm so happy. But yeah, so this is actually a part 2 to the episode we did last week. There we talked about green witchcraft, the green man, herbalism, some really good beginner herbs, and in this one we're going to be talking about herbs that are not so good, that are kind of toxic, good protection herbs, and more herbs that you need to have around you. This might be a bit shorter than our last one. Last week's episode was very long. There was just so much to it. But this episode is basically going to be a list of some really good herbs and their properties. So I'm really excited to get into it. But like I say in all my videos, my links that I use for research, all my articles and stuff like that will be down below. So if you want to go check them out, I highly suggest it. But yeah, I'm really excited, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. So protection herbs, flowers, and plants are a universal feature of witchcraft all around the world. It's an I'm sorry if I messed this up. Archetypal element of folk magic addresses a primal human need to feel safe and guarded by the unseen forces of the spiritual realm. I know I did not sound that. I know I didn't say that correctly. I'm so sorry. But many venture deep into the jungle or brave wastelands of the desert to find protection herbs, spices, or resins prized for their protective properties. A lot of people have what they need in their own kitchens, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. Actually, no, it is what we're going to be talking about today, and I can't think of a better one to start with. We're going to be talking about rosemary. So, I personally don't cook, but my husband does, and this is in his allspice that he uses. You can taste it. But basically, think of the spikes on a piece of rosemary like a spikes on a road strip. It's not an offensive measure, it's just defensive. If you lay a spike strip down and someone chooses to ignore it, and they go over anyways, it's kind of on them. So, using rosemary in witchcraft to ward off would be negative energy. That's what you want to use it for. Try planting it by your front door to keep icky vibes from crossing in, or sprinkle some dry rosemary around the points of entry of your home, like windows and doors. I have not tried that yet. I want to so bad. But it's the rosemary that we have is mixed into our allspice bottle, and I don't know if I should put that everywhere on our windows. But I know that rosemary is definitely a good one to use from other people talking about it. But next one is clove. And I cannot believe I didn't include this one in episode 6. I can't believe I left it out. But it's a staple in the kitchen, witch's cabinet. I'm not a kitchen witch. But it's famously used to protect against malicious gossip. You can use it for protection against social cattiness, harmful backtalk, or to swing office politics in your favor. Be sure to support this positive energy by not engaging in gossip yourself. It always comes back around. It always does. And then next up, like I kept mentioning before, allspice. It's one of the most common protection herbs. It stands out as one of the best additions to spell bags for protection. As a practical matter, allspice's pebble-like shape and appearance lends itself into pouches. It doesn't break down as easily or get messy as some of the more leafy options. You can include it in a spell bag along with a piece of obsidian and a lock of your own hair. I do this, but I don't include my hair. So I do use it in charm bags. I love it. Next up is ginger. So it is prized for its versatile magical properties. It famously protects against nightmares, which I really need to try out, because for some reason I've been having a lot of not best dreams lately, to say the least, which is kind of weird because I hardly ever dream. So I really should use this. But place a piece of ginger under your child's bed if they suffer from nightmares to reassure them they are safe. Or if you're in your own bedroom, that gives you creeps at night. Burn ginger incense once a month during the dark moon. Then open the windows and let it air out. Now, we're going to be talking about at-risk herbs. Because a lot of herbs are endangered, so it's also very important that you might have herbs in your own backyard that you don't know are endangered, and it's important that you just don't go picking them. So it's very important that you research something that you're interested in, not to only make sure that it's not endangered, but it's also not toxic. Because a lot of stuff is endangered, like white sage, and also using white sage is considered cultural appropriation, so you should not be using it anyway unless you are native. So, just keep that in mind. But we have a small little list of herbs that are at risk. Let's see if I can pronounce this. American ginseng, bloodroot, black cohosh, blue cohosh. Oh, this one is going to be so hard to pronounce. Echinacea, peyote, sandalwood, slippery elm, Virginia snakeroot. That is at risk. The next list is a to watch list. Arnica, butterfly weed, Cascara sagrada, maiden hair fern, mayapple, Oregon grape, stone root, stream orchid, white sage, and wild indigo. There's that white sage again, which is it's not good. Now we're going to get into the herbs that aren't so good for you. And some of these might be around you, some of them might not be. Before you touch anything, before you ingest anything, always research. Please, I can't say this enough. Because I am someone who I am allergic to a lot of random things in my yard. I have to be careful, so please, always be careful. But the first thing is water hemlock, or Cicuta maculata. Closely related to poison hemlock, which is a plant that killed Socrates. It has been deemed, quote unquote, the most violently toxic plant in North America. It's a large wildflower in the carrot family, and it resembles Queen Anne's lace, and it's sometimes confused with edible parsnips or celery, so please be careful. It's very easily confused. But water hemlock is infused with deadly, let's see if I can pronounce this, cytotoxin, especially in its roots, and it will rapidly generate potentially fatal symptoms in anyone unlucky enough to eat it. Painful convulsions, abdominal cramps, nausea, and death are common, and those who survive are often afflicted with amnesia or lasting tremors. So just stay away from it. Next one is deadly nightshade, or Atropa belladonna. So according to legend, Macbeth's soldiers poisoned the invading Danes with wine made from the sweet fruit of deadly nightshade. It's the sweetness of the berries that lures children and unwitting adults to consume the plant. It's a native of wooded or waste areas in central and southern Eurasia. Deadly nightshade has dull green leaves and shiny black berries about the size of cherries. Nightshade contains atropine and scopolamine in its stems, leaves, berries, and roots, and causes paralysis in the involuntary muscles of the body, including the heart. Even physical contact with the leaves may cause skin irritation. So just don't even touch it, honestly. Like, looking at the picture of it, you want to touch it, but don't touch it. Whatever you do, just do not touch it. Next up is white snakeroot, or these Latin names are so hard to pronounce. Okay, but I need to pronounce them. I need to know how to do it. Adiratina altissima. It's white snakeroot. It's an innocuous plant. It's responsible for the death of Abraham Lincoln's mother, Nancy Hanks. White snakeroot is a North American herb with flat-topped clusters of of small white flowers and contains a toxic alcohol known as tremetol. Unlike those who have died from directly ingesting deadly plants, Nancy Higgs was poisoned by simply drinking the milk of a cow who had grazed on the plant. Both the meat and the milk from the poisoned livestock can pass the toxin to human consumers. Symptoms of milk poisoning include loss of appetite, nausea, weakness, abdominal discomfort, reddened tongue, abnormal acidity of the blood, and death. Good thing, though, farmers are now aware of this life-threatening hazard, and they make efforts to remove the plant from animal pastures. It is that easy to basically fucking consume it and die. So, even the name white snake root is just so creepy. But the next thing, castor bean, or Ricinus communis. It's widely grown as an ornamental. The castor bean is an attractive plant native to Africa. I've read that wrong. I'm stupid. While the processed seeds are the source of castor oil, they naturally contain the poison ricin, and are deadly in small amounts. It only takes 1 or 2 seeds to kill a child, and up to 8 to kill an adult. Ricin works by inhibiting the synthesis of proteins within cells and can cause severe vomiting, diarrhea, seizures, and even death. The poison was used in 1978 to assassinate Georgy Markov, a journalist who spoke out against the Bulgarian government, and has been mailed to several U.S. politicians in failed terrorism attempts. Most fatalities are the result of accidental ingestion by children and pets. So it's also something you do not want around your pets. And of course your children, but anyways, moving on. Next up is rosary pea, or Abrus precatorius. It's also called Jacurity beans. Those piously named seeds contain abrin, an extremely deadly ribosome inhibiting protein. Rosary peas are native to tropical areas and are often used in jewelry and prayer rosaries. While the seeds are not poisonous if intact, seeds that are scratched, broken, or chewed can be lethal. It only takes 3 micrograms of abrin to kill an adult, less than the amount of poison in one seed, and it is said that numerous jewelry makers have been made ill or died after accidentally pricking their fingers while working with the seeds. Like ricin, abrin prevents protein synthesis within cells and can cause organ failure within 4 days. 4 days. Like the number 4, in case you can't hear me too well. So, rosary pea, why did I say it like that? Rosary pea is another one you do not want to be around. Next up, oleander, Miriam oleander. So it's described by Pliny the Elder in ancient Rome. It's a beautiful plant known for its striking flowers, commonly grown as a hedge and ornamental. All parts of the oleander plant are deadly and contain lethal cardiac glycosides known as oleandrin and neurine. If eaten, it can cause vomiting, diarrhea, erratic pulse, seizures, coma, and death, and contact with the leaves and sap is known to be a skin irritant to some people. The toxins in oleander are so strong that people have become ill after eating honey made by bees that visited the flowers. It's that strong, guys. Fortunately, fatalities from oleander poisoning are rare, as the plant is very bitter and thus quickly deters anyone sampling the vegetation. Side note, I am a true crime fan, and I remember watching this episode. I can't remember what show it was, but this lady killed, maybe it was her husband or her boyfriend, by using oleander that was growing in her neighbor's yard. She thought she wouldn't get caught because, for some reason, I don't remember why, but the cops saw the oleander and they're like, oh yeah. So, one of the dumbest criminals in the world. Just a side note, every time I see oleander now, I think of that case, and I cannot for the life of me remember what the fuck this person was, or what show it was, but that's what I think of now. But moving on is tobacco, or Nicotiana tabacum. Tobacco is the most widely grown commercial non-food plant in the world. All parts of the plant, especially its leaves, contain the toxic alkaloids nicotine and anabasine and can be fatal if eaten. Despite its designation as a cardiac poison, nicotine from tobacco is widely consumed around the world and is both psychoactive and addictive. It causes more than 5 million deaths per year, making it perhaps the most deadly plant in the world. Then we have American hellebore, black and green. Internally violently narcotic. Symptoms of hellebore poisoning include salivation, nausea, vomiting, colic, diarrhea, weak heartbeat, vertigo, ringing ears, disturbed vision, and oh my god, I cannot pronounce this. Coronary arrest. I don't think I pronounced that right. Green hellebore is a cardiac depressant. Black hellebore is a cardiac stimulant. Applied locally, the fresh root is an irritant. Even the name hellebore is just, yikes. But next up, eye bright. 10 to 60 drops of the tincture can induce mental confusion and violent pressure in the eyes, with lacrimation, itch, redness, and swellings of the margins of the lids, dim vision, photophobia, weakness, sneezing, nausea, insomnia, polyuria. So don't use it as a tincture, but you can use it as a tea, apparently. And next up is hemlock. Symptoms of the lethal dose is paralysis of the tongue, head pressure, giddiness, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, central paralysis, first feet and legs, the buttocks, arms, then swallowing and speech. Death can ensue through central respiratory paralysis. Then we have tansy. The oil is very toxic and should be used only with extreme caution. 10 drops can be lethal. Tansy was prohibited for botanical dealers and can be sold as a dried herb by mail. Symptoms of internal tansy poisoning include rapid and feeble pulse, severe gastritis, violent spasms, and convulsions. Wormwood is a central nervous system depressant, acquired its reputation as a subtle poison when it became the principal flavoring ingredient in a 136 proof alcoholic beverage called absinthe. Practically every civilized country in the world banned the preparation or consumption of absinthe. Habitual use or large doses can cause convulsions, insomnia, nausea, nightmare, restlessness, tremors, and vertigo. Now, we have lily of the valley. So, if you are a Breaking Bad fan, you'll remember that Walter White used this plant for some of his deeds. Consuming its toxic compounds, called cardiac glycosides, it can send people to the hospital with symptoms like dizziness, vomiting, rashes, and diarrhea. If left untreated, those little bells can even cause death. Wisteria. So it very rarely harms humans, but the seed pods are toxic to dogs, cats, and horses. Head to the vet if they or you develop symptoms. Well, not you don't head to the vet. If your pet, oh my god, if your pet develops symptoms like vomiting or diarrhea, you know what I'm trying to say. Then the next one, oh my goodness, I cannot pronounce this. Dieffenbachia, also known as dumb cane and elephant ear, can become deadly if ingested, causing the airways to swell shut. Even brushing against it can cause burning or itching. Daffodil. The bulbs are the most poisonous part of these so-called friendly flowers, so you might think twice about planting them if you have a dog who likes to dig. Ingesting too much could cause vomiting, diarrhea, convulsions, tremors, and cardiac arrhythmia. Philodendron. The sap from these trendy houseplants can irritate your skin and mouth, resulting in throat swelling, breathing difficulties, burning skin, and upset stomachs. Severe reactions are rare, but it's still best to keep them away from kids and pets. So another one that I honestly did not know that this one was toxic until I did my research, but mistletoe. Mistletoe is toxic. So whether the parasite plant, which obviously it comes around during the holidays, can cause death has been debated, but it can cause digestive problems, slowed heartbeat, hallucinogenic effects in humans in large doses, and is of particular harm to pets. So keep it away from your pets. Honestly, I would just keep most plants away from your pets until you know, just to be safe. But now we're going to get on to some more amazing herbs and how to use them in spells. So, this is a very exciting, So, herbs are a fundamental part of magic. They are our herbal allies, the tools that give oomph to our spell work. When we use an herb in the spell, we are bringing support to our intention, even if you don't feel 100% confident about the outcome. I always always use herbs in my spell work. Whether it's candles, a charm bag, something else, I always use it. So when you start researching herb magic, you'll notice that not all plants are listed in herb and magic books, and that's because there's almost 300,000 species of plants in the world. And that doesn't mean just because the ones that are listed are the only ones that are magic. There's a lot more, but people just cannot, they just cannot list 300,000 plants. So it's really encouraged that, you do your own research. But there's just so many that no one has compiled all the plants and their magical purposes, and there are plenty of plants. In fact, there's a majority of them that we haven't yet discovered their magical uses. There's so many out there that's just waiting to be discovered that we can probably more than likely use in our spell work that we just don't know yet. So just don't feel like you're limited just because you see maybe the same 10 over and over. Those are just the ones that are very popular, and it's always encouraged that you do your research. So there's a whole lot of plants that you can spend time with and discover their magical use for yourself. Herbs are living things which have a vibration. The energy that herbs give off can support our intentions, and different herbs vibrate around different topics. Some herbs are attractive, others cleanse and clear. Some focus on issues surrounding money and prosperity, others center on issues of the heart, and so on. When people lived much closely to the land, they were growing their own crops and harvesting plants in the wild. If you can learn to identify wild plants or grow a plant from a seed, it will open your eyes to who the plant is and what it can offer you. When you are in close communion with the plant world, you can ask the plants directly how they can assist you magically. And I talked about this in episode 6. You should always ask plants whether or not you can take some of them. I know that sounds really weird to say. It's just because everything has a spirit, the genus Loki. You should always show respect to the plant. And now we're going to get into some of the most amazing herbs. These are not all of them by any means, but some amazing herbs that you can use in spell work. So, alfalfa leaf. It's used to attract financial abundance when worn in a mojo bag or sprinkled in the home or business. Keep a packet of a small jar of alfalfa in your kitchen to bring prosperity to your family. Sprinkle a pinch of alfalfa on the floor of your business to bring in paying customers. Burn a mixture of alfalfa, alkanet, and sarsaparilla on a charcoal, and then sprinkle the ashes on your property to invite abundance into your home. Anise. It is used to shield yourself the negative effects of the evil's eye, as well as to open your intuition and psychic vision and prophetic dreaming. Add a pinch of anise, alkanet, and hawthorn berries to a red flannel bag to create a protection mojo. Sprinkle anise on top of a guardian protector candle to add extra protection power. You can mix anise with star anise and frankincense resin and burn on a charcoal for a psychic awareness incense. Next up is barberry. You can burn on a charcoal as an incense, sprinkle around a room or property, add to bath for spiritual cleansing. You can even add to a spiritual oil. And then we have blessed thistle. You can also burn on a charcoal as an incense, add to bath for spiritual cleansing, carry in a mojo bag along with other herbs and talismans, sprinkle around a spell candle. And you can also sprinkle around a room or property, which I have used before. But yeah, those were just a few little nice mentions, special mentions, I don't know. There's some little mentions that I wanted to include because I didn't include a lot in my first episode. But like I said, these are by no means the only ones that you can use. There's so many more. There will be tons more green witchcraft herb videos coming up. But I thought maybe you would like this part 1 and part 2 right now, in case you're just kind of wanting to get your toes in the water. So I hope you guys found this useful. I really found this so fun. Researching this was so fun. I just love plants so much, you don't even know. So yeah, there's going to be a lot more episodes coming up. I can go more in depth about plants that are good for protection. I can update you on ones that might be endangered or at risk. I can update you on more toxic plants, and of course include more herbs that are good for spell work. So just let me know if you'd be interested in that, like always. My links that I use for research will be down below, like always. Thank you so much for tuning into this, and I will see you guys next week at 3 p.m. And next week is not going to be about herbs, I'm so sorry. But it's going to be about hexing, banishing, and warding. Then episode 9 is going to be spells and rituals. And then episode 10 is going to be candle magic. So stay tuned for all of that. I'm really excited. These were some of the most fun episodes that I had researching. So I think you're really going to like them. But that's going to be all from me tonight. All from me tonight, guys. Oh my god, I cannot speak. But anyways, I will see you soon. And until next time, you guys have a great night. Bye, guys.